All right, guys. So for everybody that's in now, so here we are. We're talking about from chaos to clarity, simple systems to crush the day-to-day for you contractors and all of us. And we have Steve Dale with us, and Steve Dale is with 24 Inches on Center. And also, Steve is the author of The Profitable Contractor. So Steve is got, let's see, you have 3 kids, right?
3.
So
Yes.
it's all about making systems and getting more time for you guys to have more time with your family. So you've got that, and then you've got a 1-year rescue plan.
Yeah, and that actually has changed and evolved a little bit more. But I mean, it's the same principle. But yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely. I mean, I guess we can still consider it the 1-year rescue plan.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
great. We'll talk about
yes,
that some too. So, but 24inchesOnCenter.com is where you can find Steve. So,
yeah.
and then I am Rob Williams, by the way, and I am authoring the Pumpkin Plan for Contractors. And I know Steve because we are both pumpkin planners and we both work with contractors and we both have been contractors for a
Yes.
long time. Many. I'm a little longer because I have more gray hair than he. So. So, all right. So today, hopefully we've got everybody in here now. I know we've got a couple more attendees that have shown up. So appreciate everybody. And let's start talking about
Yeah.
pumpkin planning and systems and simple systems in our day-to-day work. And a lot of one reason we're talking about this is both being pumpkin planners is first, before we get into the details, we got to talk about what a pumpkin plan is for contractors, and then why are the systems so important and where does it fit in? You want to start on that, or you want me to go in that? Oh, did I lose him? I don't
Oh
hear.
no, I
Here we
just I
go.
hit a wrong button. So I mean, I just think that for pumpkin planning, what would really drew me to the pumpkin plan was that for so many years I was just working for for a lot of just everybody, really tapping into who you're working for, like what is an ideal client for you in your business, and that really is different for every single business has different ideal clients. So when somebody says, oh, so where do I find those good clients at? Well, it's a process, and it's different for all businesses. And so really getting clear on that, really having understanding of what makes you unique in your offering, what is it about you that attracts clients to you. And then once you have an understanding of those pieces, creating those systems that support those top clients and that unique offering, which I guess we call the sweet spot. So, yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is not working harder and really honing in on what we do so we can start enjoying and loving what we do in our business. Because the contracting world, I'll tell you what, it'll drag you by the neck and throw in under a truck and bloody you up pretty quickly if you're not intentional, and if you don't have awareness and are intentional about making changes or improvements. So
yeah, it really will. I tell you that when I first read the Pumpkin Plan, because I'd read the Pumpkin Plan and knew about it, and I'd had it helping with Profit First and some other things that we were doing with my clients before I actually became a pumpkin planner. And systems was actually the first thing that I picked up. I sort of missed the whole point in the first part of the book. I guess I probably need to get a picture of the seed. When you develop the seed in the beginning, you have these 3 circles, a Venn diagram, and you figure out what are the ideal for you business, the things that you do that you can be the best in the world at. So you have to figure that out, but you also need to make sure that somebody wants it, because you can be the best in the world. And I've actually run into that, people that invent things, and I'm sure you contractors have too. You've heard these crazy ideas of some weird gadget or mechanism or some tractor thing that somebody's invented, but nobody wants it. It was really cool. So you got to figure out, who wants it, but not only do they want it, but who is the ideal client that you would want to work with, that you like to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So the crush or cringe test. You might have when the phone rings, do you want to actually answer that call? Or that's a crush, or it's, oh my God, here's that guy again. Let's or if you do by accidentally, and you actually try to hit the wrong button, especially with phones changing. I think I've done that a couple of times where you accidentally answer it when you meant to not answer it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. And then you got like my phone, I think it's about to go. I may have to call you back.
Or if,
like
you might
that's
have
a cringe. So that is not your ideal client.
no.
But once you can figure these things out, and I missed that about cloning your actual clients to get that, then the systems is build those systems around those people. And you don't need to build the systems that are not for those people, because I know me, I always spent so much time trying to please the people that were my worst clients. I think when I look back, especially when I was in the early years and building these custom homes and things like that, the clients that were the biggest pain in my rear, I was with them all the time, and I ended up not making money on them. They wore me out day to day, and I spent all my time there. And then my very best clients, I mean, it was just a breeze. I barely did anything with them, made more money, did more, enjoy them. Actually, I think some of those people I built houses for in the 90s, I still see them pop up on my Facebook. I'm Facebook friends with these.
Yeah.
So, but you build those around, but build those systems around those people that are your best clients. So you make what you are great at even better. If you spend your time putting all the systems in place to eliminate your headaches, well, yes, you'll eliminate your headaches, but you will never become the very best at what you're doing. And that's the whole point of the pumpkin plan. You want to be the giant, colossal pumpkin, not like me and my waist, but the pumpkin in terms of your business. So you are the very best. And the only way to do that is to stand out. And the way to do that is to take your strengths, the things that you're great at, and make them better, not the things that you're bad at. So maybe those things that you're bad at, no, you don't. You want to do enough so you don't get a bad reputation, but don't spend all your time on that. Build those.
You tuning. I think that actually, I know for a fact that those bad clients become your squeaky wheel clients, like you're saying, that they call you. And nowadays, if you have AirPods in and you're like, do you want to answer this call? And you're like, oh crap. And then it'll automatically answers it for some odd reason. And you're like, oh, I got to deal with this. But no, but those jobs that you despise, they take up your energy, they take up your bandwidth so you can serve your good clients. And what happens is that those good clients get put on hold, and they're okay. I mean, they're normally pretty understanding about, I mean, they really enjoy you. They're very understanding. Well, but they're only understanding for so long. And before things start spiraling downwards. So you have to really understand, I think you had to understand who those, really it all starts with your clients, and you want to make sure to know what you did to get those clients. And so by having a process, having a way so you can repeat that, I mean, it can be as simple as just having some pre-qualification system for when a call comes in. That can be very eye-opening and enlightening if you stick with it. Now, you have to stick with it. You just can't create something and think it's just gonna magically happen.
I've been there. I've been there and done that. I had all these systems, great idea, but we don't implement them.
I think we're all there. Yeah, we all experience that. So
yeah, you forget them. I can't believe these systems and things that I have documented and put these things down, and then your natural instincts come in sometimes, especially if we're not in an office environment, and it just all goes to the wind. It's like, how did we work on that? And I may actually pull up a spreadsheet or see a sheet. Oh my gosh, I forgot I developed that a year and a half ago, and I forgot to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to chat a few minutes about what type of things happen in our business when we.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just not even having systems, but just normally what happens on a day-to-day, week-to-week in a contracting business that seems to be, I don't know, it seems to be common.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, because we want to actually, yeah, talk about the systems. We've been talking about kind of why and going to that to make sure which systems to do first. But now we can talk about that. And I love the one thing you said was those understanding client understanding, but we want to not just be there for, we want to be outstanding to our understanding clients.
I like how you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the understanding when unfortunately the wheel's not squeaking. And so we can no longer be outstanding. We were just tolerated. So if you're not outstanding, you're not gonna grow. It's a guarantee to not ever grow your colossal pumpkin by not being outstanding to those ideal clients that like
where you can just nip those bad seeds and get them off your vine so that those large clients can grow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun when you start
on that is just remember, guys, that the more and more time we're spending, yes, we do want our protect our reputation and don't have anything bad financially happen to us, something like that. But remember that they're taking time away from your favorite people and the ones that you really want to serve, or maybe taking time away from your family as well. So anyway, so now that we've talked about that, how can we be outstanding to some of these understanding great clients? And what is it day to day, like what you were just talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you mean how can we be or are we just the things that we can do, or the problems that we encounter?
Yeah, well, let's start with that. Whatever you'd like to talk about first.
I've just the like the phone on the hip that keeps ringing with constant problems, just constant challenges. You're just answering. You're on your phone all day long, and at the end of the day, you have determined that, wow, what the heck did I even get done? It can be from just not being clear on your whole bidding system, change orders that come up that need to get documented, or there needs to be a process for that, but you just go ahead and you want to make the client happy and the job stay on track, so you just go ahead and do it, and then you may or may not get paid for that order. So I think, I mean, to me, those are some of the common ones that I had experienced as well. And like I say, I'm not trying to put it, telling people this is what you're experiencing, but I do know.
Well, you're a contractor. And when you said that, of course, that's the first thing that came to me. And then what does happen if we get too busy with the other ones? We did the changes and we make somebody happy, but no, we don't get paid for it, because it was just, how many times have you said, oh my gosh, it's just not worth that change order, figuring this out. I'm just going to do it. It's going to be easier for me to do it than it is to fill this out, especially if it's something that's really small, because you don't have a system in place.
Yeah.
Figure out how you're going to go through all this.
Yeah. And then before you know it, you might be six changes deep on those small things. And while I think that it's sometimes that you can create extra value for a client by maybe including something if they wanted to change, you can include that. There's no saying you have to charge for that, but you do want to make sure it's documented. So it can be, so that way you have so you can actually see what was actually done during that job. And if there are, so the client can see the value too, but normally we want to get paid for it, but we want to at least make sure to document it and have a system for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, in yours, what are some systems? Do you want to talk a little bit about some of that? I know you've spent so much time in the systems and things, especially.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing too is we're tapped out for time. Cash flow is the biggest thing in our business, is having a system for our sales process, having a system for our marketing. If you're saying that, oh, I just get my business off referrals, which is great, because we want to have a referral. We want referrals in our business. We want to be referral based, but do we really have a system for referrals, or are we just on a hope and a prayer that somebody is going to refer us. And normally, if we're really good at those contractors is networking and creating relationships. So deep down, we probably do have a certain system for that, or I should say a certain process that we go through for that. But we just want to make sure that we start thinking about what are those steps that we take to create those relationships and to create those referrals.
Oh yeah. And then because we've got them in our heads. And
Yeah,
we
they're in
all
our
have these
heads.
things in our head, especially as us as contractors and stuff. And some people have these elaborate systems and
Yeah.
scheduling and project management stuff, but do they really have just the systems? There's so much, sometimes it's a lot simpler than that.
Yeah, I think one thing is like, what happens if that, let's just say you have a person on your team that's really, you just say, like, we're good at what we're doing. But what happens when that key person is gone on vacation, quits on it? Maybe they quit, they take all their knowledge, and now where does that leave you at? And I mean, I think we want to create that culture so somebody does not quit. So I think that's just something to really think about, is when you're thinking about which systems, like if you want to start systemizing your business or want to start thinking about documenting things, and there's some fun ways you can do it as well. What are those key things? What are those key steps in your business that are the most critical to your client acquisition and how you deliver that product and how you receive money, the revenue from it. So working on those first, I think, is the most important part.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, I know in our systems, and I know even in scaling up, when I go that our first thing is the first thing you document is make a list of your processes. That's the first process. So like you were just saying there, have the list of those things and put them in order and figure out. I know we usually take 5 to 7 and don't get more than 5, or sometimes we even say don't get more than 3 to just start, to give yourself a little goal, because the worst chaos you can get in is you start writing things down and you've got 78 things that you need systems and processes for. So you got to prioritize that and get that down in writing. I know we call it a PACE, a process chart that we take and we list those down. So that's one of the first place on documenting that.
Yeah. I think another key piece is when you are, let's just say you get really ambitious at wanting to create systems in your business, which I know we talk about this and it does seem like a downer word. You might glaze over and think, oh crap. Yeah, systems and editing stuff. That sounds like a downer. But just think about what that will actually free up for you when you have some place, and creating something that somebody will want to follow. Maybe it's like creating something that could be a training document, but something that's easy to follow and that something that's going to be a useful resource. We don't want to just write down steps and then just file it away someplace where it can't be found. So we do have some ways to make that more gamify that whole process.
Yeah, tell me about that. Yeah, because we bought a system, and I try not to point people to any particular software or anything, because there's so many of them in the contract thing, but have some place where you're doing. And I love what you're saying about gamifying it and doing that, because we've got one that we put in there, but it's not really gamified, where we're putting all in defining our processes in there.
So part of, I think it really got me and really intrigued. It's about creating a process, creating a journey. It's like the most critical systems for obtaining a certain target, your target client and service. So it's that linear journey, which is called the critical client flow. And so it takes a little bit of awareness and a little bit of work, but you're going to identify what you're currently doing in your business right now, not what you want to be doing to get work on that dream client, but really figuring out what you're doing now, so that way we can work on making improvements. But you're going to identify, the whole journey is identifying how leads, prospects find you, and then how they contact you. What is your sales process, how you collect money, the finance, the onboarding, the delivery, just that whole journey. And through that, you can, it's a living document. So anybody can go and see where you're at on that project or with that client. And if you're like in the onboarding stage, it'd be like, you can see, oh, what does onboarding look like for our clients? And so it's a really good way to keep on track with that job. And some cool things we can do is use like GoPros to document stuff. So you don't have to you can video a certain piece of your process. You don't have to just go into the office and open up a spreadsheet or a document and start typing things out, because that can just do your daily actions. And then that process can come to life. And then when we document it, that video can still lie within that system, and then somebody can watch that and see. If somebody's asking you, like, so how do we do a certain task? Well, there's a place, there's a resource library, there's a place where you can go and see exactly step by step how we do that. And if you're a visual learner, just watching a video, well, it's kind of like tapping into YouTube, right? We all like YouTube, visual learners, but if you can create that video element into your system, into your process, I think that's a game changer.
Oh yeah. So I think that's great. So let me see if I understand. So one of the first places, especially when we were in the residential world, that was just so important to have what you're in your title, in the critical client flow. And that's I love the way that, so you've got that and you're defining it. And then it's so hard to sometimes write all these things down and get something, but you're right. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I had that yesterday. I had a new product, and I had a guy that had signed up for it, and I was trying to figure out how to invoice it. And then the easiest thing, and document it, I was putting it into our systems. And then it occurred to me as I was writing all this out, I could just take all of this stuff and just have a snapshot of that invoice filled out, and then just blank his name out and then put that in there. And that was so much simpler. And the GoPros and what you were just saying, just documenting, record anything and see what happens. So I think I used to do that more, and I probably need to do it more often. So that's a good tip, is record these and make it easy. And there's so much more that you can do when you do that. And sometimes we're in the office and we do a screenshot recording or actually do a video of what's happening in there.
Yeah, and screenshots, Loom videos. I mean, just does anything to help guide somebody through how to complete a task. And I want to make sure and do a plug. CCF is not something that I came up with, but it's something through the book with Systemology by David Jennings, which is over my shoulder. I'm not sure if you're watching it. It's over my left or my right, but it's
from here. I think you're
left. So okay, so it's over my left shoulder. But that's what really enlightened exactly. Somebody might say, "Oh, you got to create a system for that." Well, where does that line up in that whole journey? Is it a system that you really need to? Is that an important system? Is it critical? Or which? If you're repeating a task, it might be a critical system, but is it critical for that? Does it lie within that, sorry, let me slow down here. Does it lie within the critical client flow?
Oh, great point.
Is it are they the 20% of the system? Because we learn, like, our businesses, 20% of what we do drives 80% of the results. So does it lie within that 20? So when it can really help us identify and focus on those critical pieces.
That's right. Yeah, it is true. Is when you're making this list and prioritizing these. I know back when I used to coach a different system, and they would say, just document those 20% that get that. Was that the Pareto principle? I think.
Yes, I think
20-80% thing.
Yeah.
So the 80% of the ones that only create 20%, or the ones that you'll use once. I used to have on my bookshelves back here, these used to be filled with 3-ring binders
Yeah.
that would go over, and we never opened the darn thing. And by the time we would open them again, we had all these processes and procedures. And then by the time we opened them again in the print, it wasn't relevant anymore. Things change so fast in this world. 20
Yeah.
years ago, it kind of worked pretty well. But now it's like you do one thing and you do it later, and it's just not the same anyway. It's just
Yeah.
get those ones that really make the most impact
Yeah.
first.
This might be a really good time to just tap back into those clients. So if 20% of the systems drive 80% of our results, that means that 20% of our clients drive 20% of our clients drive 80% of the results, and we have 80% of the clients that might be those one, they're not driving our ultimate results we're looking for in our business. So
oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you can stay in your sweet spot with those best clients, with those best things that you do, yeah, you'll drive that 80% of your profits. And actually, usually in our businesses, I think we find that it's more like 90-95%, because sometimes that 80%, we'll look at them and it'll won't even be a profit. It'll be a loss. So
that's another conversation too, is
the math doesn't even work when you divide by 0 and are negative numbers. So it's extreme in our industries.
So it's like you've actually decided that you're going to wake up and you're going to pay your client to show up and work for them.
Yeah.
And we do not, I mean, it's a horrible place to be in, because I get you all sorts of pissed off.
Oh yeah, especially when you start putting your overhead in it.
Yeah.
If you in the residential, we don't tend to allocate our overhead as much as we do in the commercial. So unless you're doing cost plus, then you're going to put as much in there as you can. But it's amazing when you look at how much you're paying to have this office staff just for the difficult ones, and the systems that you can't implement because of that small percentage that's not getting you the profit. I think I found that more often than not is those difficult clients or those exceptions caused me not to put a process in place because it couldn't handle this exception. And that was really tough. So you don't need to make your system perfect for every little thing that happens.
No, but you just want to have a clear guideline on what are the most important parts of that, just the most important parts. But
oh yeah. Yeah. Have you had are there any fun things to talk about? Like we didn't pre-plan this, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
no.
You had what's your favorite systems or any things that were cool that you've heard of? With the GoPro, I think that might be it.
I mean, I just think when you're working with the client and we're doing an extraction, like being able to identify those tasks that are we're identifying those tasks and then being able to document them with at least getting the recording with a video of some sort. It can be a phone, GoPro, whatever you want to use. But just finding those, even for operational stuff, is super important, because we tend to keep a lot of that stuff inside of our heads.
Yeah.
And then your sales process. I mean, if you have a guideline for understanding how to go through that process, you might find yourself less often at prospects' home thinking what the hell am I even doing here?
Yeah.
So I think those are the ones that are the most, to me, those are the most enlightening, is getting a process in place for pre-qualifying clients. And then so I guess, does that answer your question? Or
yeah, that's really big, the pre-qualifying. And I was just thinking of one while you were talking, when I remember one time the paper came out, it was we had an article on us. It was a house a day. When we were getting into that, we were building one house a day when we were passing 365 houses. And when we were in that, well, there's no way we could have done that, the whole thing. But we had pre-done contracts, for example. They're already pre-written. And you had that in there for the different situations. So you had it either for this neighborhood or well, in the state, some we were in more than one state. But the different types, we had those documented, or the change orders, and we had those things pre-done with blanks in them, but they were tailored for us. They weren't the one that we got from the Home Builders Association or from the Board of Realtors, or definitely wasn't the one from the Board of Realtors, because that was anti-builder, protecting them against this. So, but we had those, and you had those systems that were so much easier to fill out. And then, like you just said, the pre-qualification from the things, and what do you do to get that, and what do we need to ask them to get those in there quickly, because you could ask them 8 questions or something, and you get it rather than sitting down for 2 or 3 hours and going through all these things. And so
Yeah.
to make that spiral and happen. So the way to document them might be the GoPro or some.
Yeah, just that's
what
way,
are
but
the things that we're actually doing as the systems?
I think just having that process for the change. We talk about change orders.
Yeah.
Where does our profits get stolen from on a job? And when you can start when you can start having a clear way, and something that's very accessible and quick. Do you have a way to find your change order in like less than 30 seconds? And
Oh, wow. Yeah.
or I mean, or can you go right there, or do you have to like search? And do you have a complete, how many friction points do you have in order to get that change order established? And so I think that's a big thing.
I love what you said about friction points.
Yeah.
That we used to use that term sometimes too. That's a big thing to delve into.
Yeah. I mean, if we we don't want to make it harder on ourselves than it already is. We already have enough stuff going on in the day. And so if we just make it easy for our team to be able to navigate without our involvement, then that's a key aspect of this.
Yeah. To me, the friction point, to me, the definition is, okay, where do you get stuck? Where do you get the friction in there? And so you can put this process in place to just slide right through it, just go right over it, and then you get your efficiency, and the way you look and appear to the client just glides. It makes it easier for you and them.
Yeah,
and it makes the sale happen, because not that you actually lose the sale because you have friction points.
Yeah, and you talked about like even what systems are fun to create. I think when you can really get clear on your who you're serving, and you can create a client journey that is out of this world, and it's always a work in progress. So, but when you can start thinking about how to serve your clients, I heard a big thing here just last week, like for 2 or 3 people, they want to see where the job is in progress. That's a big thing, is they want to be involved in the progress of the job. And so thinking about things like that, how do you involve your client through that journey?
Oh yeah. In defining it and looking at that. So yeah. It's anything. I wonder if people are looking. Do you have any like one thing, not how to do, but what are some good processes that stand out in your mind that really saved a lot of time for you, or that made the client? What are some good ones that maybe some people can steal from us?
Still from us. I was trying to think here. I wish I had jotted some of these.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, that's fine.
Like for me, I think a breakthrough for me, especially one, because I was really young. I was custom home builder at 23, 24. And so I didn't know a whole lot. I'd been in the family business for 10 years, but it was like, wow. So just getting those standard contracts, even now looking back, for me, that was the biggest thing, is to have that in our standard selection items and stuff. So a lot of people are in different things, so they can't take that. But if you can standardize as a volume builder, when you're trying to grow our colossal pumpkin bigger, that was probably the most impactful for me when we started having I hate to say it was limited. They were custom houses with custom things, but they were within our scope. And if it wasn't in the scope, we're not saying necessarily you can't do it, but it did turn into that 80% that was getting 20% of the results. So
Yeah.
we went to a whole different pricing strategy, and even because it wouldn't fit in our system.
Yeah.
And yes, we did lose money on most of those too, by the way, even though we did
Yeah.
that, and even though we marked them up more.
So, and just, I was just trying to think back which one was which system was, or what thing did I implement that drove the most impact? And that was getting very, very clear on my pricing, because my pricing was so skewed before I really started getting more awareness. And when you're inconsistent on your pricing for jobs, then you're set up for failure. You're working backwards. But being clear on the pricing, and I knew that I couldn't go any lower, like that, the price was the price. There was no more sharpening the pencil, which, I mean, that when I look back on it today, what I did back then, it makes you very sick. It's sickening to think that because then what does that do for when you start lowering your prices, even though it's like, you know what, maybe I can help them out. And who does it help out? It doesn't help anybody out when you lower your prices. So being very, very clear on pricing, and not wavering from, and it was okay if somebody didn't want to, if the pricing, if they could not afford that, it was okay. You just moved, that means that they're probably not your ideal client.
Yeah.
Because we don't charge enough as contractors anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
so true. No is okay.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to fight no. I mean, Dad used to tell me that the best deal we ever made is the deal that we didn't do. Because that was the deal you're going to lose money on, is what he's the best thing is you said no, that was a better deal than that house you just sold over there.
Yeah.
Because you would have turning that down was the best monetary, or all the time and effort to just go through all this to lose money. No is okay. It's just getting that decision, because you can't say yes to everything.
Yeah. It's what's the opportunity cost?
Oh yeah.
And that can be really huge. And it's hard. I think it's difficult to even process this sometimes, because we think that yeah, we need that next job to come in to keep our schedule full, to keep our guys busy. Is it the right job?
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that is a big awareness piece. Is it the right kind of job? Is it the right type of client?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it is, great. If it's not, what can we do to try to attract? What can we do to get in front of those clients who want to serve more? What can we do to start getting more of those ideal jobs that we like?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was thinking one of those systems like you were talking about is having that pricing done. We had the ones that we knew we could have the fixed prices, and we had a page or two. And actually changed from as we went. It was pages and pages long stuff that may not have been that accurate, but at least it was concrete. And did we always know that each line item we were going to make the profit on that? Maybe the price changed, but the fact of updating, especially back then when you didn't have things linked on the computer, but we had it. It was standardized, and 99% of the time you were fine.
So was that stone and chisel?
It was pretty much stone and chisel. Yeah, and I carved it in the brick. I think we had advanced to quill and feather, so in the little ink thing.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a little inkwell when you were in school with your feather that you put in there, and then you write it? So
I'm not sure. I may have missed the era. So
well, some of it. Yeah, but that was the most impactful, and it made me make sales. But you picked from those lists, and those were your options, and those were the best deals. And if it's outside of your option, it's not your ideal client, and you can offer them, but you can't have the same margin and markup on those that you on the other one. Those are custom items, and maybe your business is purely customization, so you've got to have a whole system that you go outside and you don't have the standardization. But I would think that most of the guys, whether it's remodeling or doing something, there's some kind of standardization, even if it's square foot price. And if it's something, I mean, yes, there might be a little bit of fixed cost savings or something, but you don't have to put that
Yeah.
in there, or maybe you have a fixed plus per square foot, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to maybe just talk quickly about, is the square foot price. Making sure that it's an accurate square foot price for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I may have had a concrete patio price. A lot of the guys we
Yeah.
did actually, our cost was per square foot because that's the way my subcontracts were set up.
Yeah.
We knew it was this many dollars. I hate to quote you what it was back then because y'all laugh at me with inflation, but it's this many dollars,
Yeah.
$2 a square foot for concrete or something, and it would go on up, and that was really our cost because the subcontractor is the one he was quoting that.
Yeah.
Now sometimes we get a job that's on a really steep slope or something like that in the subcontractor. So you got to have some common sense when you're looking at it to know what your standards are and where your lay of the land, those things. But yeah, pretty much some standardization there in the square foot. But like square foot framing, oh my God, we tried to do that for a while. That can go all over the darn place. That didn't work as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just, getting clear on what all your costs are, so you can establish that per square foot price for if you're trying to create that value for your clients, and something that makes you stand out, not get stuck in that zone where everyone is you're competing on that price. So
Yeah.
and that's a thing that I see a lot is getting questioned on square foot price, but you want to make sure to have you want to make sure to have that price that you can know for internally how you can bid stuff, but just not get stuck in the not get stuck in that cycle of trying to compete with everybody on that pricing model.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing, like you said, have that critical client flow of knowing what those things are and define those systems that you can put in place. But the thing is to start.
yeah.
Pick your top 3 or pick your top 1. And if you don't have these things, it's amazing the contractors that are really, really good at doing what they do, especially in remodeling, like we were talking about. You really got some wonderful craftsmen and stuff. But on the business side, it does just really, really get difficult. And a lot of times I can actually think 2 or 3 people that I work with in my head that the guy's just a great craftsman. He just completely puts the systems off. Maybe in a couple of cases, I'm thinking of their wives. My system is to have my wife create the system, and then she does all the billing because it's not going to happen if I'm doing the billing. But having those is that great place to start. Get those, start writing them down, systematize something.
Yeah.
And start doing this. Now,
I
if you're in
think
the commercial contracting thing, it's a different place, but you still look for that same flow where you get that 20% that's going to get 80% of the results.
Yeah, I guess how much time we have in the day is as you start getting older, you start thinking more about time. How much time that we have and where we want to spend our time. And so we can't do everything. We can't be everything to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got, if it's important to us, and it's doing things, running things more efficiently might not be important to some people. I bet you deep down there might be some importance level.
They may not feel it's important to some people.
Not feel
it would be.
Yeah, but it may not feel it's important. But I think deep down, I really it is an important thing to identify. But it really is a time thing. It's where do you, how much more impact can you have if you have a little bit more freedom in your life, have more freedom in your business? What can that do for you? And so I think that's where all this kind of, like, to me, comes, where it's all bottled around or comes together, is what does it allow you to do by having things a little bit more streamlined in your life and your business?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the bottom line. It's
Yeah.
great. So yeah, having these systems, saving you time. And just like I told you a little bit, I think we were off air when I was talking about yesterday. I had a different pumpkin planner I was talking to, and she had a client that just didn't understand why it made a difference whether it took 3 weeks or 6 weeks to do the job. And I said, we talk about it. How much do you make a year? Or how much money do you make? It's okay. We don't usually say I make $100,000 or whatever the number is.
Yeah.
Say I make $100,000 a year. So if we say I make if you made $100,000 in 2 years, is that just as good as 100,000 in 1 year? Well, no, that's half as much. Well, doing your job in 3 weeks versus 6 weeks, well, that's should be twice as good. It gives you the opportunity to do more. And we talk about that. And how do you do that? You speed these up in systems. I remember it used to take us like 6 months. And I remember I built one house for myself. It took me 1.5 years because I ignored it all the time to build it. But we had houses that I built in under 15 days when we had the systems.
Wow.
We had deadlines, but we had a whole bunch of different crews. We could pile on that one, but boom, 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 boom. And you're talking about systems and processes. You can't do that stuff and speed that up and get that whole flow to benefit you with those systems and processes and your time. And maybe you don't want to do more of them, but that time can be to have more time for yourself, either to work on your business more, to gain and make more improvements, or maybe it's time for your family, for things that matter most to you. Put those systems in places so that can happen. It also would allow you to not be there if you've got some people that can do those systems. So don't just systematize what the employees are doing, systematize especially what you're doing, so you can take a 4-week vacation, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're striving for as business owners. We take on risk. And so we want to make sure to be rewarded for that risk, and having time off and vacation should be part of that. Creativity comes when you have space in that you have that mental space. And when you're just like kind of almost like slamming your head in a door constantly, that doesn't give you any room, or very, very limited room, to actually be creative and to have that space to make better decisions. We could talk about decisions sometime. We probably don't have time for that, but decisions. I mean,
I know we've already gone over time. So I hope it's still being broadcast. Our Amanda, how are we doing? Are we still broadcasting? I think so. We got my assistant. I can see her, but y'all can't see her out there. And so, but that's great. But yeah, the creativity, that's one of the arguments. So it'll take my creative. I won't be able to do that. Well, no, it usually allows you to be more creative, have more time, because what takes your creativity is, like you said, beating your head against the door to get something done that could have been done in 5 minutes. And now you're spending 3 days on it because you didn't have a system and process, and you're refiguring it out, reinventing the wheel over and over and over.
Oh my gosh, reinventing the wheel. It's something we should not want to do. We don't need to do it. Yeah.
Well, this has been great. This has been great. So I appreciate it. Now, tell everybody on here where they can find you.
Where you can find me, you can go to theprofitablecontractorbook.com.
Right here. Excellent reading. Excellent reading. Get The Profitable Contractor.
I love that.
My highlighters and my pages down in that.
Yeah, I guess what we talked about here earlier is what drove me to write that book. So, but there's also, I have my contact information. I mean, you can email me. I mean, but basically I would just, if you want to learn more about me, check out my book. That'd be a good place to start.
The Profitable Contractor. Do they have it? Is there a website or something that they would go to find some of this? Or
that's it's on Amazon, but it's theprofitablecontractorbook.com. And then if you do get that on Amazon, you can email me, and I might have some bonuses that I can send your way as well. So,
look for some bonuses.
So.
That'll be good. And so we appreciate you guys watching this seminar and our webinar, seminar, whatever we call these things today. And this is great. I'm so glad Steve and I have talked off and on. We've been meaning to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad we're getting together, and hopefully we'll do some more. And then you can find me at pumpkinplanforcontractors.com or Entrepreneurial Support Systems or Iron Gate ESS. They all get you all these places to find me. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be on our YouTube or our web pages. Lots of places you can watch us if you're not on here live today. And keep following us. And if you want some more information, I know you can get on our Profit Builder list to find more and more information. I'm sure we'll put this on the Profit Builder, but you got to subscribe to that. I think it's most of it's free for right now, and then parts of it you can step up with memberships. But this would be great. So we're on here. Steve's on here. More and more resources all the time, and we probably put a link to Steve's resources on our page as well, so we can keep finding each other and getting better at contractor and become more profitable at our businesses. So we really appreciate you being here today, Steve. This was great. I could talk about this forever. And
Same here. Yeah,
all
thank
right,
you.
man. Thanks so much.
All right.